Indian Income Tax Act, Finance Act. Q1. Is IT Act different from Finance Act? Discuss the needs, elements, applicability, and purpose of IT Act. Solution: sure, here's a brief comparison and overview. Difference between IT Act and Finance Act. The Income Tax Act, IT Act, is a specific legislation dealing with taxation of income. The Finance Act, on the other hand, is a broader legislation that encompasses various aspects of financial matters including taxation, customs, and excise. Needs of the IT Act: to levy and collect income tax from individuals and entities. To regulate the procedures and rules regarding income tax assessment, payment, and refunds. Elements of the IT Act. 1. Taxable income, determining what constitutes taxable income for individuals and entities. 2. Tax rates, specifying the rates at which income is taxed. 3. Deductions and exemptions, providing provisions for deductions and exemptions to reduce taxable income. 4. Assessment procedures, outlining the process for assessing and determining tax liability. 5. Penalties and prosecutions, enforcing compliance through penalties and legal actions against tax evaders. Applicability of the IT Act. Applies to individuals, Hindu undivided families, HUFs, companies, firms, and other entities earning income in India. Also applicable to non-residents for income earned or received in India. Purpose of the IT Act. To ensure a stable revenue stream for the government to finance public expenditure. To promote equity and social justice by taxing income according to progressive rates. To incentivize savings and investments through provisions for deductions and exemptions. To combat tax evasion and promote compliance through stringent enforcement mechanisms. Question 2. Discuss authorities, liabilities, and features of IT Act. Solution: certainly, here's a concise breakdown. Authorities under the IT Act. 1. Income Tax Department. Responsible for administering and enforcing the provisions of the Income Tax Act. 2. Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT, governing body overseeing the Income Tax Department and formulating policies related to income tax. Liabilities under the IT Act. 1. Tax liability. Individuals and entities are liable to pay income tax on their taxable income as per the rates prescribed by the Act. 2. Compliance liability. Obligation to comply with the provisions of the Act regarding filing of returns, maintenance of records, and payment of taxes. Features of the IT Act. 1. Progressive taxation. Tax rates are structured in a way that higher income earners are taxed at a higher rate, promoting equity. 2. Deductions and exemptions. Provides provisions for various deductions and exemptions to reduce taxable income, encouraging savings and investments. 3. Assessment procedures. Outlines the process for assessing income, determining tax liability, and conducting audits to ensure compliance. 4. Penalties and prosecutions. Imposes penalties and legal actions against non-compliance and tax evasion to ensure enforcement. 5. E-filing and digitalization. Embraces technology for e-filing of returns, electronic communication, and online payment of taxes, enhancing efficiency and transparency. These features collectively aim to ensure a fair, efficient, and transparent taxation system under the Income Tax Act. Question 3. Find the punishments and criminalities under quasi-judicial powers vested under IT Act. Solution: under the Income Tax Act, quasi-judicial powers are vested in tax authorities to enforce compliance and penalize violations. Here are some key punishments and criminalities. Penalties. Failure to file tax returns, penalty up to a certain percentage of the tax due. Late payment of taxes, interest on the amount due, along with penalties. Underreporting of income, penalty based on the amount of underreported income. Non-compliance with tax notices, penalty for non-compliance with notices issued by tax authorities. Prosecution. Tax evasion, intentional evasion of taxes, can lead to prosecution under the Income Tax Act. Concealment of income, deliberately concealing income or providing false information can result in prosecution. Falsification of records. Falsifying books of accounts or documents to evade taxes is a punishable offense. Money laundering. Involvement in money laundering activities related to tax evasion can lead to prosecution. Other offenses. Failure to maintain proper books of accounts. Failure to maintain required records can attract penalties. Non-cooperation with tax authorities. Refusal to provide information or cooperate with tax authorities can result in penalties. These punishments and criminalities serve as deterrents to ensure compliance with tax laws and discourage tax evasion. Question 4. What are the changes under Amendment of Year 2022 in IT Act? Solution. The amendments to the Income Tax Act in 2022 introduced several changes. Here are some key points simplified. 1. Tax slabs and rates. Changes in tax slabs and rates may have been implemented, affecting the amount of tax individuals and entities need to pay on their income. 2. Deductions and exemptions. Amendments may have altered the deductions and exemptions available to taxpayers, impacting their taxable income. 3. Digital transactions. The amendments may have introduced provisions to promote digital transactions and payments, encouraging compliance and reducing tax evasion. 4. Penalties and prosecution. Changes may have been made to penalties and prosecution measures to enhance enforcement and deter tax evasion. 5. Tax compliance. Amendments could focus on improving tax compliance through measures such as increased reporting requirements, stricter enforcement mechanisms, and the use of technology for monitoring and verification. 6. International taxation. Amendments may also address issues related to international taxation, including transfer pricing regulations, tax treaties, and the taxation of foreign income. These changes aim to make the tax system more efficient, equitable, and transparent while ensuring adequate revenue collection for the government. Question 5. How IT Act is significant to our nation? Solution. The Income Tax Act is significant to our nation for several reasons. 1. Revenue generation. It serves as a primary source of revenue for the government, funding various public services and infrastructure development. 2. Wealth redistribution. By taxing individuals and entities based on their income, it facilitates wealth redistribution and helps reduce economic inequality. 3. Funding government programs. The taxes collected under the IT Act fund government programs and initiatives in areas such as healthcare, education, defense, and social welfare. 4. Economic stability. It plays a crucial role in maintaining economic stability by funding government expenditures and investments, which in turn support economic growth. 5. Compliance and enforcement. The Act promotes tax compliance through its provisions and enforcement mechanisms, ensuring that taxpayers fulfill their obligations towards the state. 6. Fairness and equity. It aims to ensure fairness and equity in the distribution of the tax burden, with progressive tax rates that impose higher taxes on those with higher incomes. 7. Incentivizing investments. The Act may include provisions for tax incentives and exemptions to promote investments in specific sectors or activities, stimulating economic growth and development. Overall, the Income Tax Act is vital for the functioning of our nation's economy and the provision of essential public services, contributing to social welfare and economic progress. Question 6. Discuss all the shortcomings and lacunae of IT Act. Solution. While the Income Tax Act plays a crucial role in revenue generation and economic governance, it also has several shortcomings and lacunae. 1. Complexity. The Act is often too complex for ordinary taxpayers to understand fully, leading to compliance issues and confusion. 2. Tax evasion. Despite enforcement efforts, tax evasion remains a challenge due to loopholes and inadequate monitoring. 3. Tax avoidance. Legal tax avoidance strategies exploit loopholes, reducing tax revenue without violating the law. 4. Litigation. Disputes between taxpayers and authorities are common, resulting in lengthy and costly legal battles. 5. Compliance burden. Tax compliance can be burdensome, especially for small businesses and individuals, requiring extensive record-keeping and reporting. 6. Administrative challenges. Tax authorities may lack resources and face technological limitations, hindering effective enforcement. 7. Inequities. Certain provisions may favor specific groups or sectors, leading to inequities in the tax system. 8. Clarity issues. Ambiguities in the Act's language can lead to inconsistent interpretation and application. Addressing these issues requires simplification, improved enforcement, and a focus on fairness and transparency in tax administration.